Welcome to the Business Spotlight Podcast. My name is William Haas, and I'm your host for today's conversation. My guest today is Chris Haddad with Austin Event Lighting. We're going to be talking about the business, his journey into ownership, the challenges he's faced, and the wins along the way, and get a real look at what it's like to build and run a business. Chris, it is awesome to have you on board here, man. I'm excited to get on this podcast. Welcome to the show, and thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much for
being
having
here,
me.
brother.
Yeah, thanks so much for having
Absolutely.
me. Every day is a good day when it's Friday. So,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But before we dig in, I'd love for you to give us a quick background about yourself and also about your business.
yeah, so my name's Chris Haddad. I am one of three managing partners, company called Austin Event Lighting. We're an event equipment rental company and full service event production company based out of Austin, Texas, with national caliber capabilities. We serve the greater Central Texas region, but we also go on national based tours, national based activations and whatnot. We've been around for just over a decade. Started a
Mm.
business in a 10 by 20 garage with no AC, no power in the hill country. And here we are in a 22,000 square foot warehouse. So we recently built from scratch a little over a year and a half ago. And here we are. It's been a crazy journey, but we have never been more excited for the future.
Yeah, awesome. Well, what got you into this? What got you into um, doing what you're doing with Austin Event Lighting?
Getting lucky with my college major. Uh, my business partner and I went to St. Edward's University here in Austin.
Okay.
Uh, Sophomore year, they started the digital media major, which was the first time putting this out. Um, we were actually in the first classes within the digital media major. It was the first year that they were doing it. Run by Russell Rains. He's a great mentor and teacher. But those classes in that major revolved around the music, film, and gaming industries. Sean and I
Okay.
focused on the music sector. We were taking event management classes, copyright infringement law classes, all that good stuff. And we just got the itch for event and event production, largely from those college major classes that St. Anne's was offering at the time.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty awesome, man. I didn't know they had that. That's pretty cool. That's an interesting way of stepping into the event space and taking that over.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm not sure if they still have the major, but it was cool because like one of our classes was an event management class to where we like our class for that semester, our project was to put on an event. Book a venue, book the bands, bring in
Huh.
sponsors, and all that, do all the marketing. I think it was at Momo's on 6th Street.
Wow. That is awesome. For a
Familiar. Yeah.
class?
We've been around in Austin for a while, but Momo's was an original OG above Katz's Deli music venue. Shout out Paulo Viesi. He used to run that. Now he's doing big things with, the Cosmic Coffee brand and whatnot. But yeah, he was nice enough to let us use his venue. And yeah, that was actually a legitimate class and it was awesome. And so that's kind of it's crazy. That's how just a core class can light a fire to you really imagining and exploring that as a potential thing that you want to do
Yeah.
into the future when it took us a while after that to really get things going because we graduated in 2008, the worst
Hey,
graduate from college.
yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's a cool.
um Yeah, yeah. And then it took a lot, from there, but we had the basis of from those classes of knowing how awesome the event industry could be, not knowing how stressful and crazy and hectic it could be as well.
Get that. I get that. Well, if you don't mind, why don't you share a little bit of what a typical week looks like for you in the event space?
Yeah, typical week. Oh man. We have a lot of events on Saturdays and Sundays. So if I'm, going into the office on Monday, we're pre-prepping for events, from Monday through Sunday. So I'll get in, I'll take a look at vehicle flow. I'll take a look at our, streak, via our CRM platforms. um get with our team, with our shop. We have our office area and then we have our warehouse with our loading docks, so our shop manager is out there doing polls, and we have our W-2s, and then we also have our contractors as well. So I'll go in and check out vehicle flow, look at our schedule, check out our CRMs, and just kind of do powwows with the respective teams for getting prepped for the weekly events that we have. Sometimes where you have to, during a lot of it is, comes down to busy season and slow season. Right now is
Yeah.
luckily slow season for us, or not luckily, but I can breathe. And then we get into busy season, to where it's like, we're putting in, 80-hour work days. We're getting called to, have to cover or, do tweaks to a job on Saturdays and Sundays late at night. The event industry never sleeps. It really doesn't, especially, when we are in our busy season and doing our real grinding is, we'll have upwards of 15 or 20 events a week, and they're
Golly.
all very structured. They're all very intricate. They all involve a lot of teamwork and box trucks, big machinery. We're using boom lifts, forklifts on site. So it can get very intricate and, very intense at times, but I think that we have the right team in place that can handle that pressure, and that's ready to take on whatever comes to us.
Got it. That's awesome. Well, if you don't mind, share a little bit since you said you have two other partners, two other partners with you. Yeah, you mind sharing a little bit about that ownership structure and how y'all break that down and work together as a team?
Yeah, definitely. So Sean Krennick is the founder, and then Wade Ratliff, he's also managing partner. So it's us three as partners within the business. I became equity partner fairly recently ago. We actually merged two companies together. I had a staging company. We do staging for concerts, events, and it was a perfect fit. So we kind of merged the companies into one, to where we're operating under the Austin Event Lighting moniker. But the staging element was a perfect complement to where, along with, someone contacts us about needing a stage, we can upsell that
Mhm.
into, okay, we have other production element assets. We have video wall, we have the trussing element, we have the projectors, we also have the stage and the consoles. So we're trying to become a more turnkey package instead of, our preference is to be able to do the entire event ourselves instead of a client having to go to 5 or 10 different vendors. It causes more stress for the client and
Yeah.
ideally for us. If we can be able to do a turnkey package where we are owning the majority of the assets, then that's just beneficial to us.
Yeah. Makes it simpler on the client for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
definitely.
awesome. Okay. Well, I know that every business owner is growing through something. So every new season, every new challenge. What right now with y'all at Austin Event Lighting, what are y'all growing through right now? What's your seasons look like?
Our seasons, that's a really good question. Downtime is short, so it's very seasonal. We
Hmm.
have a fairly busy June, and then July 4th. It's crazy. It's kind of a circadian rhythm. It happens every year to where the week after July 4th is the slowest time of year for us.
Hmm.
There are
Wow.
also, you know, companies that are still super busy that got that big account this week. We were really busy at the end of June where, other companies might not have been as busy. The main thing with slow season and busy season in the event industry is um, stepping back and realizing, taking advantage of the slow week that we have this week. Being okay with, not having that requirement of everyone's in the office. You have to be in the office. You have to put in these 8 hours.
Yeah.
We've we've always tried to be respectful of the time off that we have because we know that when busy season hits, our people are going to be putting in, those 80 hours, those 100 hours. So what we're going through right now is kind of the change in from slow to busy and then prepping back into busy. We're looking at our calendar for October and it's like, okay, how do we pre-prep for
Yeah.
this monster wave that's about to hit? How do we prepare mentally? How do we get all of our equipment in line to where we're not, over cross-running gear or something along those lines? What can we invest in now that will make sense from a gear perspective, so that we will have that gear for busy season? A lot of that's a risk too, because you want to get $1 million in gear, getting ready for October in the hopes that it will be taken up because your last October was.
Yeah.
So those are hard things to, decipher is when do you make an investment? How do you make an investment and what exact gear is going to be invested in? Um, the event industry is it's I think constantly rated, one of the top three most stressful industries. There's burnout.
Mhm.
We need to
Mm.
respect people's mental um, mindsets and their personal mental mindsets from season to season.
Yeah, that's a solid point. I mean, especially when you're going through such vast changes. Downtime, doing nothing, you're prepping to times when you're working, like you said, 80, 100 hours, trying to get these 12, 14 different events all off without a hitch and take care of everybody. The flow of that can be extremely stressful. I can totally imagine. How do you deal with that within your teams, like specifically within your company to be able to help with that?
Um, we that's a good question. Just gearing, obviously doing sit downs, and
Hmm.
doing, we're good at, doing our quarterlies to where it's an open book. Expressing yourself, telling us the bads is the number one thing.
Yeah.
Um, and trying our best to improve upon the things that we need to do better. So just us having, being an open book and letting our employees express, you know, um, how we can do better as a company. It's more than constructive criticism. It's um, giving all of our employees and contractors an open floor to express themselves to us about, obviously we want to focus on the good things, but we would rather want to hear the bad or the things that we need to improve so that we can improve them. And I think that we separate ourselves and we're pretty good at having that open door policy for our employees to express their, what needs to be fixed instead of just saying, "Oh, it has to go this certain way." The only way that we're going to grow as a company is to improve the things that we need to improve. And then we also have, contractor feedback forms, to where it's not required as a 1099, but after a big event, we have contractors, we offer them to submit forms about what went well, what went bad. How was this team on this day? How was the client? And we'll put that in file and we'll discuss those as tasks per week or every other week.
Yeah. And that's a solid point. Is like being able to turn to your team and like keep the growth growing. Cause I mean it's the soldiers on the ground that can tell you what's working, what's not working. And y'all as leaders, that's a solid point. Being able to task out that and get that feedback is detrimental to your growth. So I applaud that. That's awesome. Okay. How about a little funner question? What is for y'all, what's 3 to 5 years look like? Let's vision forward. For Austin Event Lighting, what does that look like for you guys? 3 to 5 years as y'all are planning and growing.
Bigger warehouse.
You have
Um,
a pretty big warehouse. It's like out.
we do, and we're already out of room.
Wow.
But yeah, it's something bigger. Obviously, everyone wants, you know, bigger space to work with.
Yeah.
I think we're just so happy to be in the position that we are right now, with how we started with our roots. I mean, we literally started with, a couple $1,000s each, putting our money together to buy a used rusty trailer, a few stage panels, and a few par lights. Literally growing this from nothing. Um, in around 10 years, where we are right now, where do we want to be in 3 to 5? We want to be more structured and refined. We
Mm.
want better processes, easier back end, and I want to get to the point, or we are to the point in much sense with this, but um, you want to get to the point in the structure of your company to where, if your employees are doing their jobs, then there's that smooth peanut butter element of flow in the business. If you're doing your job, then there shouldn't be a micro management portion of that. It should be a macro
Mm.
where, everyone is working as a conglomerative form. That's our ultimate goal, and we're getting there. We've made so many strides, and it's really hard to focus on positives when you're just constantly trying to be better. We started to take a step back and smell the flowers of, look where we have come in 10 years, look where we can be in another 10 years. So the 3 to 5 year outlook is obviously growth centric, especially with the
Yeah.
event industry. I mean, the only way to grow is to have more gear, to have more assets, because the bigger companies, um, are the ones that, are able to get the big events, and that involves big gear, that involves
Yeah.
semis, and so yeah, just more structured, more refined, bigger warehouse, more gear.
More.
Yeah,
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome.
but smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Absolutely. And as you're growing, like I mean, 10 years in, y'all are obviously doing things right to where you're, I mean, taking care of big events and big warehouse, a lot bigger items that y'all are taking care of, like growth is happening. So I get it. That's awesome. Okay. Makes sense. All right. So let's here's another question that kind of proceeds with that is like, so for where you want to be and where you are, what are those steps that you're needing to take right now to be able to get to that point where you're at that 3 to 5 years? The bigger warehouse, the more taking on more, traveling the nation, setting up different events that way. What are those steps that y'all have? I mean, if whether you're implementing or you're just thinking about what are those steps that you see that you need to start implementing to be able to get there?
it's pretty simple. Money and how
Money.
you how you manage the money.
Yeah. Yeah, how you manage your money.
Um, we want to hire more people. We want to get more gear. What is the medium there? What's that fine line? Those are the biggest decisions in the company, are money-based decisions, how we handle our money, making sure that we are going to be able to afford this. And the new investments that we've made, um, it's like impulse, like avoiding impulse, making accurate money business decisions,
Mhm.
with loans and with, our finances. That is the most important thing that we have to keep focused on right now, because there are plenty of companies, beyond the event industry, obviously, who will take out that $2.5 million loan and just not know what they're doing.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. I like to think that we do. But only with more accounts are you able to spend more money. So just, you know, money. It's I know it's a generic thing, but it's a generic statement. But knowing how to manage that. There was a restaurant that, I'm not going to say their name, but they came around and they were in a trailer and then they went to a big, building, and they got the 2-3 million dollars, and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
You can have that, and they were successful too, and you can be successful and try to follow your dreams, and it can fall apart so quickly, from a money-based perspective if you're not careful. So
Yeah.
having the proper financing people in place, having the proper
Yeah.
lawyers in place, having mentors in place that can veer you towards the right decision or veer you away from the wrong decision, is very, very important. Not making those decisions alone is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Wade on my shout out Wade, shout out Sean also. Amazing individuals. I don't know where I would be without them. We complement
Mm.
each other well. We sit down and we talk about everything from a financial perspective and beyond. Not doing these decisions alone has helped us vastly to where
Yeah.
we sit down and we talk about things for months if we have to, so that we're not impulsing on, making a brash decision that could really negatively affect the company.
Yeah, that is solid. Accountability is a big deal, especially when with do that because money can do that one thing. It can just increase what's already there. If there's problems, it just makes the problems bigger. And if there's opportunity, it makes the opportunity bigger. And that accountability. So having those partners, it's solid. Having those conversations, that's solid, solid point.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So how about this? What is life when y'all reach it, when the business is working as y'all dreamed it, as y'all have those meetings, when everything's working, what does life look like for Chris? When everything's working the way it's supposed to, everything's running efficiently, what does your life look like outside the business?
Oh my gosh, my car is clean. I'm playing music really loud in my office. The office is loud. When we get big accounts, sales is so hard in the event industry. Securing a big account is like it can become an everyday occurrence to where just don't become numb. Um, we still get excited, but it's with the big whale gigs that we get to where it's like, man, that just took so much work and effort and dedication, and then we beat the competition and we got it. Chris on a good day is I'm able to water my plants and smile and then go to work and play music, and just it's just a vibe. Um, but yeah, those just getting accounts, and that creates happy employees too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, speaking on that, Chris, what's the most memorable roadblock that you overcome, like in this industry? Do you have one that specifically sticks out and you're like, man, I can't believe I got through that?
I mean, everyone was affected by it, but I feel like the event industry was absolutely up there. COVID just destroyed us. I don't know how
Yeah.
we're still in business.
Yeah.
Both AEL and HK stages at the time were, you know, the event industry went from 100 to zero. I mean, absolute zero.
Yeah.
We got the SBA loans, we got the PPP loans.
Yeah.
I don't know how we survived that. And then mentally, being in your house for a year and a half, I mean, we all got furloughed, didn't have anything to do, and you couldn't do events. Um, and so yeah, COVID, I go back and I I flip off COVID. Sorry. I'm just like, F you, COVID, because if we can get through that, we can get through anything.
Yeah.
That was just devastating for every single person in the event industry. Not just me, not just Wade and Sean, not just Austin Event Lighting. Every single person in the event industry was hurting.
Yeah.
And I am just so
Yeah.
proud of us for getting through that mentally. People aren't the same in the event industry from COVID.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was an easy
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. That's a huge one. Like that's a
Yeah,
huge one. And
COVID sucks. F you,
yeah.
COVID.
Yeah. 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 I just lobbed that one to you.
Yeah, thank you for that. That was actually a softball.
Well, Chris, man, this has been an awesome interview, awesome podcast, brother. I appreciate you being on here. But real quickly, we're going to move into some rapid fire questions, brother. You ready?
Sure, throw them at me.
All right. First one. What's the key to success for you?
Being nice,
Being nice. Okay.
building
Awesome.
bridges, not burning them.
Amen. All right. What's your one piece of advice you would give to other business owners?
Structure. Um, know that you can create something magical, no matter what, no matter if you have nothing, you can create something.
Yeah, that's encouraging. Okay. What's one book or podcast that you're into right now?
That one's easy. I'm reading Red Rising.
Oh yeah,
Found I'm on my fourth book. I think he's coming out with six or seven of them. The coolest sci-fi ride that you will be on. Yeah, so Red Rising. Shout out
Red
Dog.
Rising. That's awesome. That's awesome. I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's a fun one. If I had a little bit of magic dust that I could sprinkle on any one spot in your business to fix it, to help it grow, any of that, what spot would that be?
I'm gonna be repetitive here. Structure. Structuring the company, getting the right CRMs in place, getting the right people in place to create a solid bubble structure around your company.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. All right. Well, before we get to the last question of the day, can you share with the audience real quickly on how they can follow you, get in touch with you, how they can find Austin Event Lighting?
Yeah, for sure. Feel free to email me. Come by the warehouse. We love having people to the warehouse. We like showing people what we can do. And how much we actually have. This new warehouse is a big deal for us. So feel free to shoot me an email. Come by the warehouse anytime. Chris, CHRIS at austineventlighting.com. Our website's austineventlighting.com. Our IG page is at Austin Event Lighting. Follow us, shoot me an email. I would love to connect and show you the warehouse. We're in Creedmoor, around 15 minutes south from Austin.
That's awesome. Awesome, brother. Well, here's the final question of the day. What is most inspiring to you?
The most inspiring thing to me, knowing that the world is ultimately a beautiful place.
Hmm.
Waking up in the morning and realizing that it's not as dark as it seems sometimes. Getting me through the hard times was the realization that life is beautiful. Go outside, look up to the sky and smile. It's a very special place that we're in. right now. So yeah, just the world is a beautiful place. That's what, the most inspiring thing that drives me every day is.
Man, I love that. That's amazing. I appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome. Well, Chris, this was a great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah,
To everyone watching, save the show, come back to it because Chris dropped a lot of great insights and great knowledge on the event space. Don't forget to like and subscribe, get notified when we have new conversation drops. And thanks to you, and a special thanks to you, Chris, for being a part of the show. We
awesome.
totally appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, this is great. Let's do it again sometime. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolute. Have a great one.